What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of iMythology, the show where we get higher than the sky people of the Iroquois and tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore. Today, we're going to be bringing you the creation myth according to the Shinto. Is that correct, Kim?
Yes.
Yes. Some Shinto creation over here. So, yeah. Hope you're all excited. It's something a little new. I don't think we've done any Shinto before, so
No, not at all.
This will be our first
folktales.
Yeah, we've just done Japanese folktales. This is our first Shinto mythology, so it's going to be fun.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead and take it away.
So the Japanese are interesting, right? Okay, we'll explain. So like all creation stories that I've read so far, first there was chaos, or void, and nothingness, and then particles started moving about, and it formed the heavens. They're yin. And then the earth, and that's their yang. So yin and yang.
You dig.
Heaven, earth. So the earth was just water, and there was no land yet, and it took a really, really long time for it to form into itself. But while it was doing so, the heavens were already formed, and it formed. From it emerged 3 creation deities. Now, there's multiple names for these, but I chose their original names.
OG.
Okay. So, one is Ame no Manaka Nushi no Mikoto.
Okay, that's a name.
And it means the deity of the august center of heaven.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a name, for
That's
sure.
a name.
Next was Takami Musubi no Mikoto. And that was the high August producing wondrous deity. And lastly, there was Kami Mitsubi no Mikoto, which also means the divine producing wondrous deity. So all these are creation deities.
They all sound pretty creative.
They're all around August. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
For August, but anyway.
Harvest season. That actually makes sense, because that would, if they're basing it off of like the sky in August, that's harvest season.
That makes sense. Okay, so from those creation deities, they formed all sorts of different coupled deities, like brother and sisters, like a water goddess and a water god. Not necessarily that they would hook up, but that they were just coupled in their natural
in their job.
elements.
They work together, co-workers.
Yeah. But they're also brother and sisters. So, one day, there was actually a couple who got together. And it wasn't Lannister style either, so it was just, it wasn't considered wrong.
I mean, they didn't consider it wrong, but...
Okay, so earth, water, nothing on that. Just water.
Just water.
Just water.
Super wet.
And the creation gods summon Izanagi and Izanami, who mean he who invites and she who invites.
Ah, they're inviting. Very inviting people.
And they tell them to do something with the planet.
Can you do... I'm tired. I'm tired of my fucking socks getting wet every time I go down to the earth. Can you guys do something with
I'm tired
this
of
already?
creating. Your turn, little motherfuckers.
I'm fucking... Get on it.
Oh, the deities also gave them a dope-ass spear littered with precious jewels. And I fucking forgot to write down the name. I don't know the name.
Julie Spear.
But names aren't important for spears, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like this was its one job.
Swords.
It sounds like it was this one job. So they stare down at the watery abyss from the heavenly plains. And they stare for a long, long time, and then they were like, what the fuck do we do? So they're like, I don't know. We just dip the spear into it and swirl it about. Let's see what happens.
Swirly spear.
So they start swirling it, and it was like a big-ass whirlpool, and then like as they pulled the spear up, like mud came with them from the bottom. Oh. And then the mud dripped off the spear, and it formed the island known as Onokoro.
Okay.
So that was the first island of Japan.
The first island of Japan.
And that is where Izanagi and Izanami decided to move to. They were like, fuck yeah, we made land. Let's settle it.
Just called it a day right there.
That's us.
Yep, one mud drop, and I'm putting my house on it. Fuck you guys. Yeah. I'm going home.
Well, they're so proud of themselves that they wanted to be married. So they built a... in the center of the island.
Yeah, that mud glob's so good I should marry my sister.
Woo. So they erected a pillar in the middle of the island, and it was called the Heavenly August Pillar. And then the two gods also built an enormous palace around it, and it's called the Hall of 8 Fathoms.
Oh, I've heard of that before.
I have not. That was the first. So I figure if I wrote that down, I will eventually go backtrack and find out what the fuck that is.
Where did I hear of it? I don't think I heard of it in a real place, though. I'm pretty sure I heard of it in a comic book.
That makes sense.
It might have been a Doctor Strange thing. That sounds like the type of thing that would have showed up in some old Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So, they started, this is where I call bullshit in the story, just so you know. Izanagi and Izanami danced around the pillar going in opposite directions. Izanami greeted Izanagi first.
Why, how do you do?
However, the heavenly deities said that it was improper for a female to anticipate with the male counterparts to a greeting. Meaning...
Did you see that? She said hi first.
Meaning the man should have spoken first. Fuck you. Okay, just fuck you.
That was also the first time the gods created the word
If we
bitch.
waited for men to fucking make the first move forever, we would be single forever.
Yeah.
You didn't take the first move, Dustin. You'd still be with that horrid woman.
It does
Think about that.
It does have a funny ring to it with the whole just the whole situation. She said hi first, and instantly they criticize her for it. It's not even something mean.
Shit, no,
it's not even like
that's not right.
Yeah, she said hi first. She said hi before he said he had a chance to say hi. Way to steal his thunder, bitch.
I like your eyebrows when you're forming. You're like looking at me like you're sincere about this. I'm like, oh. Anyway, their marriage was accepted, and then they had a child. But it was ugly and boneless like a leech. So they abandoned the helpless thing. And then they had another child, and again the same thing.
Kill me.
It was a disappointment for the two gods. So they went to heaven to see why they were giving birth to monstrosities.
Anybody want to know why our kids look like shit slugs?
They said it was because Izanami's fault for speaking first. Bull fucking shit. No.
And I could just see Izanagi just looking at him like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Oh, well, it is that big of a deal.
So Izanagi and Izanami wanted to rectify their error. They danced around the Heavenly August Pillar again, going in opposite directions. This time, Izanagi greeted Izanami. I'm going to quote the book. The process was more appropriate and in accordance with the laws of nature.
That's right.
That's their words, not mine. Clearly from my ranting about this.
I like to imagine that the dance, too, is just super awkward.
Dude.
You know? Like, it's one of those, like...
booty shaking dances around.
It's like one of those group dances.
Disco.
But it's just them, you know? On opposite sides of the pillar. It's a real awkward fucking mamba line.
Anyway, after that, their children came out normal. All right, so their first child was the island Awaji. Then they had
I wouldn't say they came out normal. They came out islands.
Yeah, she had the first 8 islands. So there was then came Shikoku, Oki, Kyushu, Tsushima, and Honshu. Yeah, Tsushima and Honshu. And then all the other little islands that came around.
Honshu up in this motherfucker.
They have a fuck ton of kid islands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the islands of Japan are their children.
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird.
That is.
But
well,
right.
Especially seeing as how they had the weird slug babies and then took them and the gods were like, well, no wonder your babies are abnormal. And then they even say like, well, now she gets normal babies and she's sitting there giving birth to islands. Like, this isn't right.
And then they gave birth to the mountains, valleys, rivers, lakes, forests, everything. The flora, the fauna, humans, everything. Everything's created.
I understand how these go, but imagining someone giving birth to a valley is a hard... How do you birth a valley? Wouldn't you just take a valley?
One grain at a time, baby.
Wouldn't you just take a valley out of the land?
I like to think that it's somewhat
valley.
like the fucking... I recently watched the Christmas Grinch shit. And I like to think of that one woman who had like that cannon who was shooting all the lights up onto her rooftops. Like, here's a fucking forest.
Just attached.
Here's a fucking tree. Here's a fucking little stream going through it.
Just attached to her badge.
Just shooting out like a fucking. I like your hand gesture down by your genitals.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe.
And now Japan is colonized. I still don't understand the valley, though. It seems like, a valley. Well, you'd have to like birth 2 mountains and then birth a valley and throw them in between the mountains, I guess would be the way.
Yeah. Bunch of little ones up on top.
I don't understand it.
It's okay. She birthed everything.
And
then she started giving birth to other gods. Also, gods are named kamis. So when you hear
kamis, not like communist.
No, Kami.
Kami. Not like kami. Like kami.
First there was Owatatsumi
no Kami.
And he was a sea god. Then came the god of harbors, and his name was Kamihaya Akitsuhiko. And then they had a sea goddess, and they named her Haya Akitsu Hime. So Hime and Hiko are male and female versions.
Oh, okay, the same, basically.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Oh yeah, fun fact for those, the sea goddess and her brother of the god of harbors, they also have 8 kids. 8's an important number, by the way.
Yeah, they do seem to be coming back to 8. Shinto does have a lot to do with numbers, right?
They have numerology and shit.
Numerology, that's the word I was looking for, but way
Mine's
too
11.
stone defined.
It could be a 1, but I take 11.
You take 11.
Because it's more...
Oh, it's like an ace in cards, right? And like blackjack, it could be a 1 or an 11.
Yeah. But you have to have a certain number, and that's what gives you the 11. But if you count it down and keep dividing it, it'll go into 1. So, yeah, I know my numerology. I looked into that earlier. Anyway, then they give birth to a wind god named Kami Shinatsuko Hiko no Mikoto. And it said that when he was born, his breath was so powerful that the clouds and the mist that hanged close over Earth immediately dispersed to every corner of Earth, and the planet began to fill with light.
Okay.
Then the fuck rabbits gave birth to Kukunochi no Kami, the god of trees. And then he was followed by Oyamatsumi no Kami, the god of mountains. And then came Kaya Nuhume no Kami, the goddess of the plains. And then they gave birth to a fire god. They named him Kagutsuchi no Kami. Unfortunately, when he was born, he engulfed his mother, Izanami, and burned her to death.
Wait for it.
That's so inappropriate. Wow. Izanagi did everything he could to resuscitate her, and even though he did, Izanami's appetite was completely gone. She couldn't eat any food. She couldn't hold it down. Wow. So Izanagi made all her favorite foods, but whenever she ate, it would just come back up. One time, after she had just eaten, she had puked that up, and then 2 deities as well. A god and goddess of metals.
Well, that's why you had a metal god stuck in your
Kaneyama Biku and Kaneyama Hime.
Kaneyama Biku and Kaneyama Hime.
And from her body parts started breaking off and became the god and goddess of earth.
Damn!
Named Hanayatsu Hiku and Hanayatsu Hime. Then before Izanami died for reals because of hunger, she gave birth to a goddess of water named Mitsuhume no Mikoto. And because of Izanami's death, it was the first of its kind, so death and suffering became a thing.
Oh, damn! Why'd you have to go and bring death and suffering?
Then, in Izanagi's grief, from his tears, the goddess of spring water was born, and her name was Nakisawame no Mikoto.
Damn. Just like every drop of these things.
Just every fucking word he looks, he's like, what the fuck?
I'm wondering if
It gets better.
if they're supposed to be like giants to
No.
Izunagi and Izunagi.
Well, they're like 4 foot, so I guess their gods would be 6 foot.
That's so horrible, kid. That's so horrible. Oh,
I don't know. Ask.
yeah. I'd assume.
Ask Harry.
If they're squirting out islands,
I mean,
you're gonna
that's
squirt out
true.
an island. You gotta
And
have
a valley
birth
and a
canal.
mountains.
Yeah. I don't
They
know
just
what it
flew
takes
out
to
after
fucking
that.
birth a valley. I'm still lost on that concept.
So anyway, Izanagi became angry that his wife was dead, so he grabbed his sword, Totsuka no Tsuguri, and decapitated his newborn fiery offspring. Yeah, poor thing.
Aww.
From the fire god's blood came 8 strong other deities, and then his body became 8 deities.
Damn.
Again, 8. So now he's looking at like what? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 kids right there, all born right at the same time. He was like, what the fuck?
I was sad, and now I'm stuck in a horrible sitcom.
So Izanagi couldn't get over his wife's death, so he journeyed to Yomi, the underworld, to get her back. I'm going to smoke some more. And again, more aches come up. Okay, so Izanagi walked for hundreds of miles. It took about 8 days across the plains to find the entrance to Yomi. And then it was said that it was, it was also, the Yomi cave is also said to be in Izumo, by the way.
The Yomi cave?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Zumo?
Mm-hmm. It's somewhere marked.
Oh, in an actual place?
Yeah.
Oh, so we could go there.
Yeah.
Harry-san, we're coming to visit you, bro. We're going to go to the underworld.
I'm good.
I'm good. Kim's good. Kim's out. You and me, brother.
I got things to do. Anyway, so the entrance was a big rock cave that was surrounded by boulders. And it took Izanagi another 8 days of traveling straight down before coming across a great mansion where the spirits of the dead reside. He could see in front entrance that the mansion was heavily guarded by horrific demons, so he snuck around to the back where it just so happened that no one was around. And he peeked around the corner of the back gate.
Peekaboo.
And saw in the grand courtyard, where lo and behold, his wife is there sipping some tea. Just so happens that she is right there.
Just happens to just be sitting there.
Yeah. Nice. She's a good. She's got more class than that. Okay.
I sipple upon this tea.
You got me.
Just good.
Izanagi is super stoked at his luck and at his wife to get her attention. Eventually he does, and she runs over to her husband. She had also been missing him dearly. And Izanagi tells her that they must keep... What?
So I almost didn't hear you over my slurping.
Oh shit, yeah, that's true. You're slurping for real. Izanagi tells her that they must keep creating as they were told to do by the other gods, and that he can't live without her, or raise all those children by himself.
There's so many kids.
There's
so many fucking kids.
So Izanami becomes sad and says to him that she cannot return to the world of the living when she has already eaten the food from the underworld. But she will see what she can do.
I feel like in most of the underworld stories that involve the food keeping you there, it seems like everyone gives in real quick.
Well, I mean, remember, she was starving for days on top.
Oh, I guess she did starve to death, so I think that would be the first thing you'd do when you die. You'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll eat an apple. But I mean, in some of them, it literally seems like all you have to do is be cool for like 6 or 7 hours and don't eat anything. And it's like, like, what's her name with the Orpheus myth and the Greeks, which I don't know if we've talked about that, but we will if we haven't. But, yeah.
I thought we did.
She ate 6 pomegranate seeds.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was Persephone.
Oh, that was Persephone. Yeah, that was a different one.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was Hades. Yeah. Anyway, continuing on because...
Yeah, because I interrupted the shit out of you there. Sidetracked the whole operation.
So she says she'll give it a shot, see what she can do. And she begs her husband to stay outside. Whatever he does, do not come inside the mansion. So he agrees. But a day goes by, and Izanagi becomes impatient and goes inside to look for his wife. After a little while, he found his wife, and to his horror, she was like in an advanced stage of decomposition. Maggots crawling all over her. She was like lifeless, laying there on the fucking ground. And she had 8 thunder deities attached to her. And a bunch of sleeping demons around her.
Thunder deities and sleeping demons.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, are those like I guess Raiden's probably Chinese.
Yeah. I thought Raiden was fucking Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat! I don't know. I totally was pulling from Mortal Kombat. I don't know.
I'm only doing this fucking story.
But everyone knows Mortal Kombat was based on a true story in reality.
I just have this dumbfounded look on my face.
I know the look on Kim's face makes me really wish we had video going right now. Did you just quote Mortal Kombat like it was fact?
Wow. Okay. So one of the thunder gods saw Izanagi and freaked out. So he took off and he let out a giant crack of thunder, waking everyone, including the corpse of Izanami.
Wow.
When Izanami awoke, she was pissed. She saw her husband there and she was like, how dare he see me in this fucking horrid state?
I told you not to come.
She's so outraged that he disobeyed her. And so she sent all the demons to go kill him. Start chasing after him, too.
My demons get him.
Mm-hmm. So Izanagi was scared shitless, of course, and he ran for it. He made it to the entrance of Yomi in just under 4 days.
You're not the woman I married!
With his wife and the demons still hot on his trail. As soon as he got to the entrance, he covered it with a giant boulder, blocking everyone in, and he thanked his good fortune for escaping the dark and terrible underworld.
Oh my god, so we don't want to go in that tunnel, because that chick is waiting down there just mad, huh?
Exactly, that's why I was
that sounds
you guys
to me,
have fun.
That sounds to me like a running zombie, and running zombies terrify me. Walking zombies, not one bit. Running
I didn't write
zombies,
this down, but she's like yelling from him on the other side. She's like, I'm going to kill like 1,000 people every day until you fucking return to me. And he's like, well, then I'll just create 1,500 people a day. Yeah.
Haha, what about that?
So anyway, Izanagi decided he needed to cleanse himself from the...
Oh my god, is there a silly argument?
The impurities of the underworld.
Is there a silly argument the reason why we have such a horrible cycle of life and death on this planet?
I don't know.
Before it'd be like, 2 babies were born a day, and some days nobody died. And now it's like, nope, 10,000 people die every day, but 15,000 are born. Yeah. We're going to get to a point where millions of people die every day, and we're overpopulated.
Then pandemics happen.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Real nice.
Okay, so he decided he needed to go cleanse himself in a river using a sacred ritual. As Izanagi washed his left eye first, Amaterasu, the sun goddess, was born.
Yeah.
She's
Amaterasu.
Then Izanagi washed his right eye, and Tsukiyomi? Forgive me if I got it wrong. The moon god was born. And it said they actually were married at a time.
Oh, Okami and
Amaterasu and
Amaterasu.
Tsukiyomi.
Oh yeah, so if you played video games back in the day, there was a video game called Okami.
Dude, that was my shit.
And that was Kim's jam, but it was about Amaterasu.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty dope. Still pretty dope, so if you find it,
fucking play that game.
Have fun with it.
Don't get too upset once you get to the winter place like I did. Every time. I'd have to pass it off to Dustin during the fucking slot machine. I'm like, do it!
Through it!
I forgot how to draw the winter one.
Yeah.
You gave me 12 things to draw. Okay, anyway. Sorry. Okay, so then finally he washed his nose, and Susanoo, the storm god, was born. He's also
Susanoo!
He's also a trickster god, too.
Oh, yeah.
Mischievous.
Susanoo.
Ironically, when Izanagi threw his clothes off to wash in the river, his clothes turned into 12 other gods.
God damn it.
Oh, shit. And I forgot to mention that, like, after Izanami became trapped in the underworld, she became the goddess of death.
I never would make sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that.
She was kind of on a bender there with the kill thousands of people thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. kind of makes sense. Yeah, that.
So all in all, Izanami and Izanagi had over 800 children, deities shaping the planet, the islands. And so most of the story comes from the Kojiki. It's Japan's oldest chronicle, made in 712 CE
Kojiki.
by a man named Yasumaro. All right, continuing on, because yes, we are not done.
Well, I like to think how upset he was when his clothes turned into.
What the fuck am I supposed to
Like
wear
at that point, you've got to imagine, from all the stories, he's just so tired of having children.
He's like, fuck you.
He's like, I gotta go do the ritual and clean myself. You wash your right eye first. God damn it, another one. You wash your left eye next. God damn it, another one. You wash your
because they were purely his kids, he made all three of them the high heavenly gods.
Oh, yeah.
So they replaced the three deities of creation.
Okay, yeah.
Amaterasu, more powerful because she was the firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
And when she married, I didn't write this down. She married her brother, the moon, and she sent him on an envoy to go do something somewhere with some harvest goddess, and she's like, the way she presented it fucking insulted him, so he decapitated her, the harvest goddess. And Amaterasu found out. She was pissed. She's like, fuck you, get out. And so ever since then, night and day were separated.
Oh, because they got a divorce.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, they broke up.
She just get the fuck out.
Yeah, she kicked him out.
For life.
For life. You go.
I think she like shit out of corn or something, and that's why he like was so offended that he had to decapitate her.
Her shit had corn in it. I can't handle
I can't
that.
remember. Like, it was so insulting to him, and it had something to do with defecating food and presenting a table of food, perfect food, from defecating it.
Oh.
And he was so disturbed by it.
I kind of would be. Okay, hold on. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I got a roast.
Here's the banquet table. Coming. Banquet table first. Get the chairs. Stools.
Someone grab the
silverware.
Stool. Someone grab the stool leg.
Take the fork. It's blocking it.
Yeah, the fork's turned sideways. Can you just get up in there and readjust it?
Disturbing.
Okay, that was a horrible, horrible banquet. How was the food? Shitty.
No.
It was shitty, all of it.
No.
I'm gonna kill you now.
All right, so shall we continue?
Yes.
All right, continuing on. This is where it comes kind of political. It's Amaterasu versus Susanoo a lot. Because Susanoo is very jealous of Amaterasu.
Susanoo. I know Susano makes him sound Italian. Hey, yo, I'm Susano. I'm the only Italian, one of the Japanese gods, eh?
This brother and sister were almost always at war, though Amaterasu tried really hard not to fight. So anyway, Amaterasu is not only the sun goddess, by the way, I forgot to mention. She's also like the goddess of the skies, heavens, divine earth, of all the other kamis, where all the other kamis live. She's just overall the ruler of all.
The ruler of all.
And that's why the emperor says he's descended from her.
Oh,
well, the emperor got together and he was like, I will go into that with you here in a second.
Okay, yeah.
So, what the fuck? Okay, so she's actually depicted as a bunch of different shit. She's a fox woman, she's a fox snake, she's a snake. She's everything. She has so many different forms.
She's a shapeshifter.
She has so many different forms, but the most common one is a woman with beaded jewels. Big fucking
big beads.
And like a foxtail usually.
Yeah.
Usually.
It's funny because back in the days those were all kind of different symbols. Yeah. But nowadays those all tie into things that go up your butt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had a big ass string of thick beads and a foxtail.
Regardless, like all the small nations of Japan, the small groups of Japan, they all believed in her being the high deity. There are some that depict her as a man, though, as well. So I mean, But she's definitely the first of her kind where she is the female ruler of all.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool, but...
that's totally cool.
So the humans wanted to get together and find a way to write their genealogy to connect to them as the gods. So it was said that the first Emperor Jimmu actually had his all written out to prove that he was the lineage of Amaterasu.
And that's why he wore a foxtail butt plug.
Probably.
Anywhere he went.
Maybe.
See? I'm descended
And a long
from
mustache.
Amaterasu. And a little mustache. The mustache. No one understood the mustache, but he said it was proof, so we all went with it. Yeah. Who wants a mustache ride? A Fu Manchu ride?
Okay, so after quarreling with her brother Susanoo for many, many years, Izanagi, their father, banishes his mischievous son. But before Susanoo goes, he wanted to say goodbye to Amaterasu. Amaterasu was super suspicious of her brother. Don't blame her. So she greeted him in armor. She's fully adorned. Like, I'm ready to fight you, bitch. What? Susanoo proposed a trial by pledge to prove his sincerity.
A trial by pledge.
So this is a ritual where two gods chew and spit out an object carried by the other. So Amaterasu was given Susanoo's sword. She broke it into 3 pieces, chewed the sword up, and spit its remains out. It became 3 goddesses, known as the Munakata goddesses. Susanoo was given Amaterasu's beaded necklace.
Oh my god, you don't want to put that in your mouth.
He's doing it.
You don't want to put that in your mouth, bro. Clean that off.
He chewed the big main one. The giant one.
The giant one always goes in first.
He chewed it, spit it out, and it became 5 gods. Susanoo burst into a great laugh because he spit out 5 children. But Amaterasu reminds him that he chewed her celestial beads.
You ate my poop, motherfucker.
That contained more power than even he had. So anyway, Susanoo raises the girls and Amaterasu raises the boys. And that's how the ritual works. And Susanoo didn't really listen to anything that Amaterasu was saying, so he raged with victory. And he started wreaking havoc by destroying the sun goddess's rice fields.
Why does my breath stink?
On her throne.
You make me eat your shit, I'll show you.
Yeah, she was pretty pissed. Amaterasu tolerated his wild behavior at first, but his mischief did not cease, and it became increasingly disturbing.
I like to think he tried to convince her it was the feast trick. Like, no, wait, you said you were cool with this. Hold on, it's going to be an epic feast right on your throne. Give me a minute.
Jesus.
You got a magazine?
Until one time, Susanoo carved a hole in the roof of Amaterasu's weaving room, flayed a horse alive, and threw it into the weaving room.
Jesus, that's so fucking... Just a skinless horse.
Thrown into your weaving room, which is where you, like, go to fucking relax and just fucking weave shit. It's weaving rack.
That is such a horrible... That is the prank gone too far. That's like someone say shitting on the throne was where he crossed the line. I'd say probably, but the horse was way over that line.
It got increasingly disturbing. Okay, so Amaterasu and one of her maidens were in the room at the time. Now, some say that's her sister. And I didn't bother writing it down, but whatever.
Sister.
And the flayed horse actually hit the maiden and pushed her into a weaving rack, which broke and speared the maiden through the pelvis, killing her.
Oh, Jesus.
So the already irritated goddess was now also in mourning, and she blamed herself and became ashamed that her lack of action led to such chaos. So she ran away and hid in a cave called the Ama no Iwato. And you can find it there in Iwato.
Iwato? Mm-hmm. Let's go find that cave. That sounds way cooler than the other
cave.
Got
a tree out front and shit.
Yeah, that sounds way cooler than the other cave with the zombie chick behind it.
It's called the Heavenly Rock Cave in English.
Okay.
Okay. So, with Amaterasu gone, the world plunged into darkness, and for the first winter came. It was a terrible and hard time for the world who was used to basking in her heavenly sunlight.
Oh, so they were summer all the time type of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the commies in heaven looked down on Earth and saw the chaos from Amateratsu's absence. They decided that they needed to bring the goddess back. They eventually found her cave and begged her to come out. They described the chaos and told her that without her presence, the chaos would not recede. But Amaterasu refused to listen and blocked the cave entrance.
It's cold. Come on.
She blocked it with the giant boulder. They got a lot to do with giant boulders.
Yeah, they do. They got a lot of rocks.
Mm-hmm. After almost a year, the god of wisdom, Omo... I'm sorry. Omo Ikane.
Omo Akane.
Told his fellow kami that if Amaterasu did not come out of the cave willingly, then they should lure her out with curiosity. So they put a bunch of mirrors around the cave entrance and threw a huge party.
Yeah. Huge. Party time.
Commies were laughing, dancing, singing, drinking, just having a fuck ton of fun.
Woo! Show your tits! Oh my god, put them away!
I'll explain to you in a minute what it was that got her attention. So the plan totally worked. Amaterasu could hear the cries of laughter and music and wondered what in the world everyone was so happy about. So she got up and went to the cave entrance and peeled the giant boulder back a bit. All right, this is the version I like the most.
Okay.
There's a couple versions of this. They say that when Amaterasu saw her light in the reflection of the mirrors, she was fascinated and wanted to come out. So Omo Ikane removed the giant boulder for her, and then she stepped out. The other story is a little bit more mean. It says that when she peeked out of the cave, the light on the mirrors reflected her light at the other commies. And then they all ran over to the cave and quickly pulled back the giant boulder out of the way. And then they bound her and drug her out of the cave.
Jesus.
So yeah, not as good. There's also another... Oh, no. Okay, so what piqued Amaterasu's interest was during the party, the goddess of dawn, Ame no Uzume, was super drunk and was streaking through the party, just running around butt-ass naked. People were fucking laughing at that. Other stories say is that they found another god more powerful than her. She was like, what? Gotta go see?
Yeah.
Anyway, as the giant boulder was removed and Amaterasu was out of the cave, her sunlight immediately illuminated the world, banishing the chaos left from her absence.
Yeah.
Winter finally ended and spring brought life back to Japan. Amaterasu was ashamed of her actions and begged the other commies for their forgiveness, which was a quick yes, because they all knew why she was there in the first place.
Can you guys forgive me, or do I have to go back into that cave? You're forgiven! You're forgiven! You're forgiven.
Fucking Susanoo. So, his banishment was quickly carried out, and Amaterasu returned to heaven. And that is the story. And they will later reconcile with each other, Susanoo and Amaterasu. Susanoo will give her famous heavenly blade. And most of this was from the Nihon Shoki, which was produced about 8 years after the first book, so 720 CE.
Okay, that's super old school.
Mm-hmm. And these were made because they wanted a lineage. And there are people who claim to be from like other descendants and other peoples and other shits.
Yeah.
You know
it makes sense. You got to keep that lineage. I mean, that's because this was also around the time they wanted to clearly separate themselves from China.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
China and Korea. Because Korea also has they all have very similar influences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a pretty awesome story.
Thank you.
Love the intrigue. I love that I called that someone was pulling their titties out at that party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew gods are partying.
That's what they do.
Someone's pulling them titties out.
Well, apparently she was flailing about really stupidly.
She was flailing them titties.
Yeah. That's why they were laughing at her. She was just making a fool of herself.
She was making a fool.
And we'll get into, it did bring me into an interesting saga that they apparently have. It's called the Izumo. Izumo? I don't fucking know. I'll find it. We'll do that.
Izumo? Oh,
I don't know.
interesting.
It's some saga. I'll make you research it.
Do we got a tease for that? What would that be about?
More about Susanoo side.
Oh, Susanoo's
What
side
he
of the
was doing.
story.
What he was doing during all this shit.
Okay. Aside from shitting on people's chairs.
All the fucked up shit he did.
Hold on. It's coming.
All of it.
It's coming. Oh, fucking Susanoo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a dick.
That sounds like.
But he has his moments too, though.
Yeah.
You know, he's a lot like Loki. Everyone has their trickster.
Everyone has their trickster.
He's also the god of storm, so he's always outraged and shit.
Yeah, he's always storming. I am pissed. I am gonna go piss on some people and shit on a chair. Yep.
So I guess we should just get the Odysseus story out of the way so that we can explain to everyone why everything's an Odysseus story. Because everything seems to be an Odysseus story.
Orpheus. That's what you're talking about.
Orpheus. Fuck. I do this all the time. I get that guy's name.
Yeah, we're gonna do look for that in the future.
Yes.
Actually, before I talk about the future, our references for today's episode: Ancient History Encyclopedia, Britannica.com, Mythopedia.com, Williams College, Williams College, cs.williams.edu, Washington State University, _Bryans-.wsu.edu.
Thank you.
JapanThis.com and Owlcation.com.
Yep.
Those are our references. So as we were saying, we're going to do the Orpheus story in the future here pretty soon, but we're probably going to do it a couple of times in one episode to show you guys how that's that's one that actually, like, it's weird how that story percolated throughout the world.
How every fucking place seems
and
to
places that weren't even connected at all.
Yeah.
Had the same story. Like, you could say Greece and Greece maybe had some contact with someone who had contact with Japan, and that's how they got the story.
Mm-hmm.
But there's fucking Native Americans in, what is it, the Pacific Northwest, I think?
There's some in the...
Or is it the Midwest?
California,
that have the same
desert
story.
area.
Yeah.
The Dead Man's Land.
Yeah, they have the same story. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about that in the future. Hope all of you enjoyed this.
Yes.
And I hope you guys keep enjoying. Yeah. Let us know. Share this with your friends too. Help us get out there. You guys have really been doing great at helping get the word out about the high mythology. We look to have merch soon, so you can get some higher than t-shirts. And possibly some bumper stickers and whatnot. More to come with that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you very much for helping us make this podcast a thing. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
As always, like and subscribe and have a good night.
And comment.
Let us know what you think and give us some stories.
Yeah, give us some.
Let us know. Give us some suggestions. That's some of our favorite episodes so far have been from taking suggestions that come from you guys and going way too deep down a rabbit hole. So,
For real.
Yeah.
For real. That's fun.
Yep. Well, good night, everybody.
Have a good night.